Good morning.
The Aquatic
Good
Morning Show.
morning.
Where the Aquarius go to be in the know on the Aquatic Morning Show. So this is quite a different panel. So we've got me and we've got Bex and we have Brandon, the blind fish keeper. That was an
Good morning.
unexpected surprise.
It was a nice surprise. Good morning, Brandon.
Good morning.
So
I'm here.
yeah. So how are you doing today?
I can't complain, man. Doing good.
Cool. And so you're able
How are
to
you
catch
guys
that.
doing?
Doing fine. You're able to catch that blind skate that Jess did yesterday.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Yep, interesting. And I'm gonna get to do one with Brookley maybe this weekend, and yeah, that'll be interesting. I
that'd be
just don't want to
cool.
like break a tank with a rock. That's my concern.
Yeah. Growing pains, man.
Yeah, I'm like a bull in a china shop anyway, and so like having a blindfold on and like carrying rocks next to glass is a little scary.
Yep. I have not done that so far. I have not even overflowed a tank that I can recall.
Really?
No, not
I
at
feel
all.
like that'd be the first thing that would happen
Yeah,
if
and
I
I
had a.
think that's why, like, I'm so paranoid of doing that I really don't go much more than a step or two away from any tank I'm working on.
Yeah, you got to keep that hand on the rim of the tank just to, or can you just hear when it's getting close to the top?
A little bit of both. I know by the sound now, so many years into it, how close I am, and then I know when to go and start keeping a tactile sense of how high it is.
Nah, that's good.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I'm like hyper aware of the sound of water hitting the floor. I think every fish keeper
Yep.
now like knows that sound really well, and no matter where they are in the house, you hear that splashing of water on the floor, you come running.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're like instantly. That's not the right sound.
Yep.
Yep. I haven't overfilled a tank yet, but then again, I'm still on the bucket system because all mine are nano tanks. So, but although I have not overflowed a tank, I have had water all over my kitchen floor because one of the buckets broke when we went to pick it up. And that was not a pleasant experience.
I've had one tank burst a seam. That was last year. And fortunately, I was sitting in here in the fish room when it happened, so I heard the water start hitting the floor. Unfortunately, which the fish room is carpeted, so that sucked.
Oh man!
So if you're by yourself and that happens, what do you do?
I scrambled for buckets and the python.
And then you just
lots of towels.
Put the fish.
Luckily, someone was here. They came and caught my fish, and we ran them outside to the ponds. And it was, I believe it was a starry night cichlid, and Oscar, and a few little green terrors. So they went outside into one of my tubs and pretty much stayed there most of the summer while I got that tank replaced and rescaped.
Man, that's always a scare. That's like a nightmare right there.
Yeah.
Just that's my worst nightmare. If we have to, because we have to go up to Denver a lot of times for like appointments and stuff, because we were like, yeah, we're moving from Denver to Colorado Springs, but we can keep our doctors and everything else because it's only an hour and a half drive. My biggest fear is we're going to be gone up in Denver one day, and I'm going to come home and I'm going to have an empty tank with dead fish and water everywhere.
Oh my God, yeah.
That is like my worst nightmare.
I'd have been completely lost if no one had been home. I have to have someone help me when it's time to net fish. So if I'd have had to let the tank go empty, I don't know if I could have saved them all just feeling around for them.
Right. Now that would be a challenge, the blind fish catching challenge.
Like I've caught fish out of my African tank barehanded, so I think I can do it. I mean, I can't guarantee that I'd catch the one I was going after, but I could catch a fish.
Oh, thank you, Kelly. $9.99 super chat. Feel better soon, Jess.
Yay. Thank you, Kelly.
I just typed in chat. I think people thought I was Jess. And I type in the chat on here and I forget that since I'm like an admin on the StreamYard, anything I type in chat comes through as Jess. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you, Kelly. Do we want to go through and say our hellos and good mornings?
I guess so, but first let's say hello to Dee.
Yay!
Only a few minutes late. So what's your
This is what it looks like when you wake up at 10:02.
Welcome.
Hey, Brandon. I dozed off sitting on the couch.
You know what? I don't fault you at all for that. I mean,
No way.
Yesterday, I just sitting at my computer, I would doze off and lose like 5 minutes at a time and then like wake up before finally like falling asleep for the night.
I'm so terrible with that, not being able to see like light and dark. I'll turn a book on and wake up like 4 chapters later.
Then you got to rewind. Like, well, where am I?
Exactly.
Where am I? What time is it? How much have I missed?
Oh,
yeah, I can imagine your circadian rhythm is just completely screwed up.
Completely screwed up. I only sleep a couple hours at a time here and there.
Yikes.
Man. That would be hard.
Let's just go through the chat. We'll say some hellos. The first person I see, again, is not Annette. We see Eduardo, and followed by Craig, and then followed by Annette with the Snailed It. And a hello to Bex, and then a hello from Bex. Let's see. Good morning, Greg, 3G, Jennifer Weaver, Kyle, who is on vacation for how long? The next week?
Next week, we are on vacation for 7 days.
And it's a staycation, too, which is the best kind of vacation.
A staycation visit vacation. Yeah.
No plans at all.
Nope.
I love that. See, Annette calling me beautiful, even though I literally just rolled out of bed.
You're beautiful, man.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Brandon. I'll take your word for it. Dennis, Bigfoot Fish Tanks, good morning. Brooklyn Bell, good morning. Garcia Aquatics. And Eric Wyra. Good morning, Fishy fam. All right, Eric, we need an energy transfer again, please. Susie Q. Good morning. What was that, Dee Dee?
What?
Oh, I thought you said something. Sorry.
No, I might have said I was reading, I think.
Michael Long.
Sorry.
I just didn't want to interrupt.
Oh.
Michael Long, Yellowstone. And then Kelly Foreman. Good morning, fish friends. I would have not turned on that banner the whole time that you just I forget.
I gotta do something.
Yeah.
This is why we need Miss Dee Dee. In fact,
it would have gone off the rails immediately.
Steven, can we maybe flip Dee Dee and Brandon?
No.
Because you can't see Brandon's face.
Oh,
the banner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. First of all, Dee Dee's in charge here.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
Oh, okay. The banner was covering him up.
It was,
yeah.
You couldn't see him.
Yeah,
That's
the banner.
right. I can't see it anyway.
Yeah, your camera is angling towards your ceiling fan a lot.
Let's see if I can fix that.
So we see the top. We saw the top half of your face. And perfect.
Perfect.
Is that better?
Yep. Perfect.
Y'all have to let me know if it slides.
Okay.
Oh, there.
Will do.
Right.
And we get a good view of the tank behind you too.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, that's my my big guys.
All right. Let's see. Where was that? Garcia Aquatics. Probably said that like 6 times at this point because I'm just Monster Fish Gal. Good morning, Lori. Dennis Christensen. And Mike's Aquatics and Things. And then we got Kelly Bex. Where's Kyle with the coffee refill? Kyle is standing by, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. Good morning, Merrick. And then I posted as Jess, confusing everybody. And Dave. And I was telling Dave yesterday, it's kind of BS. We're not getting any feral streams lately.
I know.
So I asked Sandy what the deal was.
I saw that.
The kids have drama going on, like school drama, as in like they're in drama. They have performances. Because Sandy said some stupid drama, and I'm like, oh no, like as in like the bad kind of drama. But no, it's the extracurricular type of drama. And good morning, John. And we got the nice super chat from Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly.
Gina's Reef. Good morning.
I worked so hard for it this morning.
Yeah, for sure. And I think
It took me like 5 hours to go to sleep last night.
Really?
I saw an entire movie. Can't remember the title. And then, well, I will say at least 5 because I started watching that Bridgerton the other night.
Oh boy.
And I saw 4, 5, 6 episodes, whatever, so I finally fell asleep.
So good morning, Danny. Good morning, Fishy Mon. Need to update the banner to my new. Oh yeah, because right now it still says Danny Weshy. Needs to be updated. Dr. Anthony, good morning. Jay Oliver. Am I at the bottom of the chat yet, or am I just so behind that I'll never reach the bottom at this point?
Oh.
Well, I know I just saw Jay Oliver, who actually asked where Jess has been, and she had some dental surgery that had to get done, and it didn't go quite as well as everyone had hoped. So she's just taking a couple extra days, but just send her positive vibes.
Right.
But
all good.
She's going to try to do the members stream tomorrow.
Yes.
Cool. Let's see. Wayne Talbot. Good afternoon from the UK.
I haven't seen Wayne around in a long time.
Yep. I don't believe so. Then today's short.
His name was Talbot.
Your algebra? You're taking algebra, Dee Dee?
Well, when I was in high school, my algebra teacher, that was his name. It was like, ooh. I listened to him for a whole year, didn't know one thing he said. I made A's in the class. Don't know a thing.
Gardens. What did someone say? Members only stream?
Finally. It has been a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's been at least a month. Because there's always been like something going on that Wednesday, whether she was, had getting the dental work, or I think she was sick one week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She had a migraine one week.
Yeah.
Did the dental work, and then Skipper was going to, and something happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that has been a month.
Good morning, Jason.
I'll send her email if I forget to tell her to change Danny's name.
I can change it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Well, look at you.
Yep. In fact, if y'all talk amongst yourselves, I can go do that right now before I forget, because I will forget if I don't do it now.
All right. Well, did you watch the, I'm sure you did, Bex, because you were a mod yesterday in the wet plants. Wet your plants.
Oh, yeah. That was a great episode. It was so awesome to hear Brookley, basically disseminate some fantastic information along with Kelly and Steven on aquascaping, and the fact that it was geared towards fish keepers, not aquascapers per se, made it even better. Like, that's what made it the best, was that it wasn't like, here's how to make this, Takashi Amano style perfect, beautiful aquascape. Like, here's how to make one like a beautiful scape for your fish that's geared towards your fish. And it just, like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought Brickley did such a great job. And of course, Kelly does and Steven does, but we all know that Kelly is the queen, the mother of plants.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And speaking of aquascaping,
it's always really good to hear about scaping from a more fish centric side.
Right.
I think there's definitely a different aspect to doing an aquascape when you're more focused on your fish than you are for.
Yeah, and then focused on like what the aquascape is going to look like in a year or two, rather than like one that you set up, you take your photo, but then you take it down, because realistically, even maintaining one of those types of tanks is almost a full-time job.
No doubt, yeah, for sure.
Well, speaking of aquascaping, your challenge is over, isn't it, Brandon?
No, ma'am. You've got till April 30th.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I see Jess had to finish hers.
That's the deadline.
Yep. And before you hopped on, Dee Dee, I was talking to Brandon about Brookley and I are going to actually do, I think she's got a couple of spare 2.5 gallon tanks. And we're going to do a scape off blindfolded sometime this month, maybe this weekend if we can.
It's a challenge inside a challenge.
Yeah, and then I'll post the pictures probably on my community tab and just let people vote without knowing who did what. Because she's the scaper. I'm not really much of a scaper. I'm just the plant person. So it would be interesting to see both of us blindfolded. And she's got this box of hardscape that is a very, very random assortment of rocks, different rock textures, and then what you might think is the same rock, but it's a different color because it was either like dyed blue from methylene blue, or it just came out looking like a different color. So I want to just grab from that box and not even know what I'm getting. I just have to feel for it. So if it's a different color, then it's a different color. Oh, 2 spare 10 gallons.
And you'll be surprised, like when you go to start grabbing plants, you'll. I mean, if you visually paid attention to them as you gone along, you'll be surprised at what you understand when you put your fingers on them without being able to see them.
Yeah, I have no doubt from feeling plants, I can identify them.
Yep.
Oh, and Brookley just said she's getting more hardscape, of course.
Awesome.
You're gonna have to take her tank away from her when you leave, or else she's gonna change it. You know her; she can't let them rest until they're just right for her.
And hey, I that's fine with me. If I had time to mess with that over and over, I would too.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have as many tanks as I do, so she has more time to obsess over fewer.
I keep telling myself I'm gonna get just a tank to fool around with, but anytime I just put an empty tank in a room, it ends up filled up.
Well, she says she changed that one about every day, and I understand because when I had just the 55, my husband says you just need to keep your hands out of that water, because I was in it every single day, changing something. So, I think this would go better over here, or I come back from the store and I had another one to add. Now that meant everything else had to move. I tried to do that too, because it was so much fun.
So, how do you get rid of aphids on floating plants in a shrimp tank? Anybody?
I know how to get rid of aphids off of terrestrial plants, but I don't know how to get rid of them off of floating plants.
I think LRB, if you go back in Lucas Brett's catalog, he had a video sometime, I want to say last half of last year, that he had that issue that he took care of. And a lot of it, if I'm not mistaken, was just knocking them off into the water for the fish to eat. And then trimming back as much as he could trim back and just literally removing it from the room. But I can't remember exactly what he did.
Now, according to this book,
A Tub Pond Handbook.
3rd edition.
Third edition.
This gentleman takes like a triple dose of that fenbendazole, like we use for like the dog dewormer for Canaria when we do that. Mix that like a 3-pack dose in a 5-gallon bucket of water. Drop your plants in, let them sit for 24 hours. Now, and then he rinses them or just dunks them in some fresh water, then puts them back in a tank. Now, he did not mention aphids particularly, but that's how he what do you call it when you bring your plants home instead of doing the dips and all with the bleach and the whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, ladybugs would be, if you were dealing with terrestrial plants that were in your garden or something, ladybugs would be the way to go. They eat them, but you're dealing with a shrimp tank indoors. I don't know if ladybugs would be
indoors.
Yeah, you need. I think from chat, what I'm seeing, submerge the plants because the aphids can't swim. You know, the fish will eat them if you knock them off. But yeah, if there's terrestrial in your garden, ladybugs for sure. But I don't know about putting ladybugs indoors.
Is a sea shrimp considered an aphid or something else?
I don't think so. Aphids are little tiny green bugs.
And none of them are aquatic?
No. No, they're not generally aquatic, but I have heard of this happening where people will get them on their floating plants for whatever reason. So
interesting. Yeah. And Brooklyn says she's pulling all the stems out of the tank right this minute. Well, I mean, what else would you be doing?
Brooklyn reminds me so much of me. So Brooklyn with her tanks is the same as me with my art. If I'm not happy, even if I'm halfway through a piece, if I'm not happy with it, it's going in the trash and I'm starting all over again. Like
I'd like to hang around your house and go through your trash and you start tearing up your tanks.
I'll be right back.
Lady, get out of my trash can. I'll be out in a minute.
That's totally well. No, when I was doing my art, I never quit until the end, and then I had no problem throwing it in the trash.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where, you know, like the betta, right? So the betta that I did for the auction, I restarted that betta 3 times before I was happy with it. And then reached a point where I was like, okay, I'm happy with this. We're going to finish it. And this is going to be the final product. Now, for the Scootin' Fruity, the Shotodeni that I did for Steven as a commission, that one I didn't have to restart at all. And that made me happy. And I'm just starting a new piece right now that I can't say what it is because it's actually a surprise for somebody. So, yes, I cannot say what.
Mystery.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I just got the photo that I wanted of one of my particular aquatic animals. And I'm using that as my reference. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be super cool. It's going to be cute.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, you into that book, Didi?
I don't have the skills that for artistry that y'all have, but I've done things it ain't too bad. And that's great for me. If it's just not too bad, then I take that as a win-win.
I had something in my hand, scribbling or drawing or painting from pretty much as soon as I could walk.
Yep, that's how I was too, Brandon.
And even till just probably a couple of years ago, I even did a couple of shows as a blind artist before I finally was just like, yeah, this is too stressful.
That's awesome, though. That's really awesome. I was the same way. I mean, I remember there's a picture of me at like 4 years old in Hawaii when we lived in K-Bay. just sitting out on the back picnic table with, the really cheap like Crayola watercolors and, just doing all that. Because my dad is an artist. So I got all my artistic ability from him. He was a painter. So.
Nice.
Yep.
This is my
I did it my
artistic
whole
creation.
life, and I just kind of really hung it all up here in the last couple of years ago.
Oh.
That on the wall, the fish.
Yeah. That's
Did
a
you
piece
paint
of
those?
plywood.
And you
Yeah,
painted those fish on there?
Well, I made cutouts with paper
Mm-hmm.
and I decoupaged them up there. That's my artistic abilities right there.
I think that's awesome.
I really like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
But it's like an 8-foot piece of plywood that I cut out.
Yeah, and did you cut out the waves and stuff on it too? Like you made that
waves.
Well, just the whole shape of it.
Yeah, I did that. That's my part. But
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then I just
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
I like the bubble things. I'd seen that in a cartoon thing a long time ago, so I did the bubbles.
Yeah, like she's an
But I needed
8-foot
something
long
to cover
plywood, and she cut
that
like in the shape of I guess like an outline of bubbles, and then a bunch of cutouts of fish, and then painted it blue.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Some seaweed.
Very cool.
And one of the fish has the air bubbles coming out his backside, not the front side.
Naturally.
Because the dojos do that a lot.
That's awesome, Dee Dee. I think
They're
that was
always blowing air out, bubbles out the back.
That's funny.
But I had fun, I sat there and I did that with the Saturday night drawing show, and I just kept adding to my little stack till I had enough fish.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a gluer though. I'm not a creator. I'm a gluer.
I need to have more. I need to have fish art on the wall. I mean, I have it. I gotta find a good place to hang it up. And I wasn't sure whether I wanted like just one wall devoted to a bunch of fish art, or if I wanted to put it all over the fish room and near the tanks. I'm kind of leaning towards like a wall of fish art. And then Scoot and Fruity drawing, when I get that, will be the centerpiece.
Yeah, I have to. It's hard to get an appointment with the particular Chiclet print place that I'm using, and I need them to take a high resolution photo and keep it on a disc so that I can have prints made.
Right.
Because I found an online company that will do it for a lot cheaper than what the actual place will, but they'll still take the photo for me for like $10. So I'm trying this week is going to be, I'm making sure that I will get in this week and get that photo taken so I can get Scoot and Fruity framed and sent your way.
Awesome. Can't wait, but also take your time. No rush, but hurry.
I've had all kinds of art hanging up in here, but I don't think any of it's fish art. A couple of them are from my tattoo artist. A few of them are mine.
That's awesome.
But I don't have any fish art.
I see two frame things on the wall to your left, but it's hard to tell what they are. Yep, right there.
Yeah, those are the paintings from my tattoo artist.
Okay,
cool. I think there's some dark art.
Oh, okay.
Dark art.
I do have some art. I just haven't hung it in here. Well, I didn't know is where I would have to put it would be so close to the evaporation mist. I didn't know if it was grooming it, so I haven't done it.
I do have a Lilo and Stitch kind of, I guess it's a print, but it was signed by the artist.
Oh,
nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's Stitch sitting on a surfboard with a whole bunch of little rubber duckies floating around him.
I love Stitch. That's awesome.
Yep.
That is awesome.
It's hanging over the top of my rainbow tank.
So many fun.
I love this question because I could I could ask you the same thing, Wayne Talbot. Can someone advise? I have a Laganandra Miboldii red, which melted back. It's growing back, but gaining no height. It was 3 inches tall, but now only sits at 1 inch tall, but is spreading across the substrate. Well, personally, Kelly sent me some tissue cultures of Laganandra Miboldii red, which melted back, but it's growing back, but gaining no height. It was 3 inches tall, but now only sits at 1 inch tall and is spreading across the substrate, but
Oh
very
my God.
slowly. Yeah, like the exact same thing is happening. And the so it's supposed to be a red plant. The tissue cultures that we got were white, like the leaves were a bright white, which is kind of cool if it stayed that way. Like that's a very interesting contrast in a tank. But I figured that's not the way it's supposed to look. It's a very strange tissue culture.
Could it be a light intensity thing?
I don't know. I mean, I've got so it's I have a 40 breeder plant farm going, and I actually have 2 lights on it, 2 Higer lights. One that's directly over the stem plants in the back half, and then one that's dedicated to growing stuff in the foreground. And I have sword tissue cultures. And now Kelly sent me 3 sword tissue cultures to try. The 2 of them are doing great. I mean, they're just like the fancy twist red and the diamond red swords,
Right.
but and they're doing fine. This Laganandra one, I'm not familiar with the plant. I've never had any genus of that plant before, and it just completely melted. The tissue culture melted, kind of like a cryptwood.
A crypt milk.
Yeah, and supposedly they have the potential to come back like a crypt. The way this one,
well, you can train
back,
some plants to grow out instead of up. I wonder if it just naturally did that after it died back.
It could be. So Kelly just said if the leaves were white, they were etiolated, grown in the dark, and unhappy. I hope they will get bigger. So weird. I think I might have a picture of what it looked like at first because it was very bizarre, and now it's like almost disappeared. And in fact, only 1 or 2 of the plantlets that came with the tissue culture I have any amount of hope of coming back. The rest of them have disappeared.
That's that makes sense. That's how they turn poinsettias red. Is they shock them. Put them in the dark and shock them.
Yep, that's what I heard. Yeah, because I kept a poinsettia on the front porch through winter and all the way to spring, and all of the new growth was green because I didn't do anything to it, just let it sit there.
Yeah, it'll always be green until it gets shocked, and it goes into distress, and that's when it, the leaves turn red and it looks like a flower because it's trying to, propagate itself.
It's interesting.
Trying to find that picture of the Laganandra, and I've got a picture of it where it basically went away. I'll open that one in a second too.
I've never had good luck with poinsettias, but we had a neighbor at my mom's that she got some in a hanging basket one year, and she just hung it up under her little aluminum carport, and that thing grew like a philodendron vine. And stayed outside. Winter, she never took it in, and it lived for years.
I saw the wildest thing. I was in Maui, and these people had a poinsettia edge. It was 4 feet tall, and it was like it lined their whole driveway.
Wow.
So
it was all green, but it was all poinsettia. It was crazy.
So Poetic Song says she's drawn to electric blue rams and their long fin cousins. Do they need to tank all their own special parameters? Any experience with them or advice? Only thing I know about rams is soft water, low pH, because they're South American cichlids, so they're going to be probably in like black water type of environment.
Warm water.
warm water. Yeah, in the 80s.
Yep. I don't think, as far as like aggression, you have anything to worry about.
Probably not, other
Some of
than breeding.
the parameters are really, I guess, what you really need to focus on.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I had to disappear for a second.
Getting windy out there.
It is bad. Like we're under high wind warning right now. We're having one of those typical Colorado spring windstorms. So it's, sustained right now, 25, 35, gusts up to 60 all day. So it was like knocking my wreath really bad on the door. So I just had to go run and grab it and bring it in before it basically just like blew away.
Terrible.
All right. So I'm sharing my screen right now to show the. So these are the 3 tissue cultures that Kelly sent. This is the fancy twist one is on the left here, and then in the middle are these bright white leaves. This is the Laganandra Meboldii red, but there ain't no red on it at this point. This is not too long after I planted them. You can see a little bit of melt on the sword leaves, and then the one on the right is the red diamond. And so, yeah, I had no idea what things were gonna look like at this point, but just the bizarre white leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. And then I guess this was maybe a month later with some nice CO2 and all that. So you can see the red swords. Red swords are doing really, really well. Like they've tripled in size. And then if you look in the middle, there's like a little sprig of the Laganandra. The leaves are green now, but they're not doing anything. And the other ones, there's no trace of them anymore. They're gone. So hopefully something happens with them, but otherwise, it looks like just the two swords are gonna survive.
I don't ever have any luck with tissue cultures.
They're weird. They're hit and miss. Like it's kind of tissue cultures are kind of in this weird state of like they don't know what they are. They don't know if they're immersed or they don't know if they're submersed. The cells are something entirely different.
Yep.
Some limbo.
Yeah, I don't have it with tissue cultures.
Let's see. Well, those red swords.
If it's already a full plant, I'm pretty good with it.
So, Poetic Song asking, will those red swords be that bright without CO2? Yeah, they just need, it's the light that keeps them red, in my experience.
Yep.
And what kind are they?
What is the genus? Echina or whatever? The one that starts with an E? I don't remember, but it's yeah. I don't even know if it has a species at all, if it's classified, or it's just like a variety of red sword.
I've got a red and green sword in one of my tanks, and I don't run any CO2 at all in any of mine, and it's always putting out red leaves.
Yeah, just gotta get that light, and it'll be red.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a 40 breeder, so it's not super tall, so it's not so hard to put enough light on it. And I have a red sword growing as in my 90 it's a 2 foot tall tank, and the leaves are not all that red because there's just not enough light.
Right.
Yeah, red diamond, red twist, Echinodoris or Echinodoris or however you want to say it, and also however it is supposed to be pronounced.
Those scientific names, man.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
I had gotten a couple of those. What did this? Flamingo plants that
pink flamingo.
Pink flamingo.
We don't talk about
one of
pink
them just
flamingo
disappeared altogether. The next one disappeared, but then I had this cute little teeny tiny version of it pop up, and I thought, oh, it's going to make it this time. And it got about that tall, had 3 or 4 leaves. It was just as cute as a button. It looked like it belonged in a miniature dollhouse, and then it was gone.
Yeah,
just like that.
Sounds about right.
Yep.
That was
Yeah.
I did 2, and I think that's it for me. They're too
Um,
much space.
I'm on Pink Flamingo number 4 I got from KJE. Those leaves are gone. It's somewhere in this plant farm, and I'm just gonna pretend that I never even planted it. It comes back, what a surprise. If it doesn't, well, I never had it in the first place, and you can't prove I did.
What would be funny is
planted
if Jenna
mine
got
and-
one and hid it in there and you didn't know it was there and it just took. Then all of a sudden one day you're looking in the back and say, oh, I've got a pink flamingo. Don't know where it came from.
I planted one and it turned green. It lost all
Yep.
its pink, and then it just died.
Yeah, and I mean it is what it is. It depends on your water. Like if you live in a place that has soft water and you think that you're some sort of like master aquatic horticulturist, well, why don't you try growing plants where the KH is a little higher, and then you might think, oh, maybe stuff is a little bit harder than I thought. You know, plants get a little bit more fussy whenever you have those sort of parameters.
Yep.
I tend to struggle with all crips. I don't know what
Yeah.
it is, but I can plant them and they'll kind of live, but I don't really have any that just thrive.
Yeah, I mean, crips definitely benefit from a nutrient-dense substrate. They do like iron. Now, iron is not like what you need to make plants red, but I mean,
Right.
everything needs iron. Some plants take better advantage of it than others.
Yeah, I've got a whole plan of attack when I update or upgrade this tank.
Mm.
I've already got a bag of laterite powder and some laterite substrate to mix into whatever I put down.
This is
I'm
my
gonna have
my
crips.
first. I love crips, and this is my first foray. I just changed out some substrate in a couple of tanks of mine where I'm trying out fluval stratum for the first time, and then I did a black sand cap. So this and the 10-gallon of mine that has the Rio Oscuro from Brightwell. This is the first time I've tried.
The stuff that I'm using.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever tried, like nutrient dense substrate. So it'll be interesting to see if that makes a difference, especially because I do have a lot of crips. So I'm excited to see how it turns out.
Yeah, I'm excited to use it too. I'm slowly building up my bags of the Rio Oscuro myself.
I will warn you with Rio Oscuro and Eakins, he and I were just talking about this on one of his Sunday night streams. Rio Oscuro, I like it, but what I don't like about it is like floofy. It is like floofy. And so it does not, it doesn't hold those plants, it doesn't hold on to those plants really well.
Right.
Which drives me nuts. Like I like a good, at least capping it with something that's going to keep those plants down and make them easier to plant.
Yeah, I wondered about that, just feeling it through the bag.
Yeah, it's light. It is a very, very light substrate.
Lighter than stratum?
Lighter than stratum, I feel like, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, stratum I like to cap. But it took me a long time before I even tried an aqua soil. So like I mean, maybe that made me better at plants in the long run than I would have been if I had just started with aqua soil. But like my first foray with plants was straight up gravel, and not even like natural gravel. It was like teal and blue and white gravel with root tabs.
I'm in the same boat as you, man. Even to this day, I think the only tank I've actually got any kind of planted substrate in is my guppy and shrimp tank, and that one's just all it's got is fluorite in it, and it's just mixed in.
I like fluorite. I mean, it's not comprehensive, but it's got something, and it's decent. Like I have a lot of tanks with just fluorite as the substrate, and like they're doing, and like the tank behind me is the 10-gallon is just like chock full of plants, and in fact, I have all of my like higher tech plants as like the spillover from my other tanks. All the high tech plants go in there, and it's doing just fine in that substrate.
Yeah, I think mine is fluorite and crushed coral and regular gravel.
Yep. And, that works out just fine, especially if you put root tabs or if you're fertilizing the water column. Like the fertilizer gets to it in some way eventually. I found that the nutrient dense substrates as a starter, even without fertilizing the water column, is like one of the most efficient ways to get a planted tank started.
Yep.
Yes. What I did in my 55, I'd never had this aqua soil either, but I took and made like in the back, in the center, and it came out in like a little semicircle. And then around the front and the sides, I made sand. So you don't really see it, but it's there unless you look over. But the Amazon swords wouldn't stay down in it. So what I did, I planted them and then just put some rocks on top of them until eventually, I guess they had grown enough and into the sand and whatever, where it had enough weight to hold them down. Because they wouldn't stay in. I'd take my hand out and they'd come right back to the top.
I have a lot of trouble rooting swords. It takes me a couple of weeks before they anchor themselves.
So.
I used to use plant weights like I was addicted to them. I've had substrate that's like 20% plant weights at this point.
Yeah.
They're just all over the place.
I've got areas of my rainbow tank. I'm sure when I go to upgrade it, I'm going to rediscover tons of.
Yeah, when I need one, I look through the tanks and see if I've missed one. Look if you can just see it catching up in the sand or something. Go in there and get it. You keep buying them, but it's like, where did they go?
Mm-hmm.
You think you get them all back when the plants get finished or whatever.
Start going digging. Mm-hmm. And it would be nice if they were magnetic, but they're just gone when they're in the substrate.
I know.
Yeah, I've spent a lot on plant weights because I didn't know how to keep stem plants down. And it was just because I was following this stupid rule of substrate of 1 pound per gallon, which is wrong.
Right.
Don't do that.
Right.
Try like 2 to 3 pounds per gallon. Because you want your substrate to be like at least 3 inches, if not 4 inches deep, if you're going to do a sustainable planted tank.
That's right.
I learned that the hard way.
So did I. Yep. I used to just like maybe just half an inch over the bottom rim of the tank, and I learned the hard way that doesn't work.
Oh yeah, that's especially can't really keep much down with that. Yeah. Without
that's like the plants I got from Geek Boy. I guess most of them will melt because they're crypts. A lot of them.
They'll melt, but kind of at the same time, you should see new growth come back as the old leaves are melting.
Right.
But these crypts are every bit of 8 to 10 inches. Never seen anything like this.
They may not. Some of them don't melt. It depends on, I guess, your water and his water similarities. And
right. Dee Dee's got some wacky water though with the KH of what was it, 22? Yeah. I think everything that goes in your water is gonna like go into shock and freak out a little bit before it recovers.
But I've been blending in some RODI water, so it's coming down. When I did my last test strip, now maybe not in this tank, but I just did a fresh water change in my rainbow tank, and the KH is 180 as opposed to 300 plus.
Mm.
So that's by mixing my RODI and my regular water half and half.
Yep.
Man.
Kelly says spiralis doesn't melt. I've actually never had crypt spiralis in my tank at all.
Oh man, I was just talking about some spiralis earlier. I had some beautiful spiralis in one of my betta tanks, and it started spreading. One of the only ones I've ever had to spread. So what did I do? I separated it and brought some into another tank, and both of my once I separated it, both of my patches of spiralis died.
It got sad. It didn't want to be separated.
Yeah.
And then Kelly says parva and lucens never seem to melt. So for me, parva never seems to do anything. It just
me either.
When you buy it, that's how it's gonna be.
Yep.
I just
So
bought
it is
some
for
of that. I
me
don't
too.
remember what it was.
The parva.
Yeah.
That's the little bitty one.
It's
Mhm.
tiny, and they say it grows slow. I'm not convinced that it grows at all.
Yeah, I've got some that is still the exact same 3 years
Yeah.
later.
Yep.
Geek Boy, what is this kind of crypt that you sent me?
I think
I
he sent. Is it a bunch of Wintia? Like he had like the real bushy.
Yeah, it's pointy. The leaves are
Yeah.
pointy.
It's
Pointy.
yeah.
Yeah,
I want to say
I like Wintia.
I love Wintia.
So-
It's so pretty.
Yeah,
It's
and you
beautiful.
can get it in all the different, tones.
Mm-hmm.
The first night that I set this tank up, and I just put everybody here to get them in the water and all. And I'm thinking I'm going to use this for my 125. I think I'm going to hook some CO2 up to 125 and throw everything in there and add some more because it needs lots and lots of plants. But I just sat here and just like, oh my God, I can't stand it. Looking at these plants at night, I just spend hours just staring at these plants. It's like a wonderland for me. And look at this
Aquatic
stuff right
gardens are
here.
awesome.
Yes,
Look at
they are.
that. That stuff has already grown to the top and hanging over, laying over.
Have you ever had
Well,
a
that one's
plant?
hit the top too.
Yeah. So, Dee Dee, have you ever had a plant grow immersed and then flower? Because that's super exciting. You let something just keep growing out the top, and then all of a sudden you got a pretty flower coming out of it.
Not inside.
Mm.
I've had them do it in the pond outside.
Oh yeah, that's a prime place for it in the natural sunlight.
But my plan is to actually get an actual plant light and hang it over, from the ceiling somehow, and give me some of those little basket thingies to put some in the back of something like the 55 and this 90, and let the plants grow up outside the back wall where that little plastic strip.
Yeah.
To let them come up that way.
Yeah.
Just got to get time to figure out how to do that. But hey, Foxy.
So Brooklyn gave me some pothos, and I just have that sticking out of the plastic strip in the mosh pit right now. And the mosh pit is up against a window, so I'm hoping that's like the perfect spot to just let it grow wild in the fish room. I just have to make sure the cat doesn't get to it, but we have an old fat lazy cat. She doesn't do a whole lot, so I don't think she's gonna be interested in hopping up there.
Yeah, not my cat. My cat hops up on everything. Like Kenzie gets everywhere. She was on top of my quarantine tank again because I basically use the Sterilite bin like Irene does in her videos that she's released. And I have it, y'all don't laugh at me. I have it on a luggage rack. I have it sitting up on a luggage. And she hops up onto the TV stand, walks across in front of the TV, and just hops right on top of that stupid quarantine tank. And I find her sitting up there watching the betta that's in there right now. Like, I'm going to eat you. I'm going to eat you.
Do your cats ever chirp at your fish?
They don't chirp at the fish. When I first set a tank up, they're super interested and they'll sit there and they'll watch it. But then they get bored very quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, Phoebe really loves when a catfish or like a Kwere or a pleco will make an appearance, and she gets really excited and starts chirping at it like it's going to listen to her and come near. So, have any of you guys had an Anubias flower? Up until very recently.
One flowering right now.
Awesome. Oh. What kind?
Yes. Nana.
Okay. Very cool. Up until recently, I had none flower.
Yeah, I've got this Nana that I planted and just let go for 2 years. I don't even think I trimmed dead leaves off of it. And the rhizome on it is bigger around than your thumb.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it's a monster, but it'll put 2 or 3 flowers off at a time.
So I have Anubias and Boosts in a big carpeted clump in various tanks, and my Boosts will flower constantly all the time. But up until recently, I had no Anubias flower. But then I had, in fact, in the exact same conditions that Kelly just described, where she's got 10 hours of medium high light, I think what she said,
Right.
with CO2. That's exactly what had my Anubias flower. I'm trying to find a picture of it. I don't know if I took a recent pic, but yeah, it
I
actually.
do run my lights for 10 hours.
Yeah.
But I don't have any CO2. Now the Anubias is flowering is continuously pearling, from what I'm told. So apparently it's super happy.
Wow.
I think Anubias, Java Fern, and maybe Crypts to some extent. Those are like the lower light plants. They actually benefit from a longer photo period versus a more intense photo period. I keep very long photo periods in a lot of my tanks just for my own enjoyment, because when I wake up in the morning, I want to be able to like see my 90 gallon, because it's like right next to the bed. It's the first thing that I see when I wake up in the morning. So that'll turn on, and Jenna gets up at 6, so that turns on for her to see at 6 o'clock, and it doesn't turn off until 9 p.m. So, but it's like a very like low light in the morning and low light in the evening, ramp down.
I run mine from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Yeah, so
Greg says his flower, he has soft water and low KH.
That helps.
I've got a little bit higher than neutral, but liquid rock.
Liquid rock. Yeah, well, buddy. Liquid rock isn't lovely so bad if your KH is not terrible.
No, my KH really only stays around in between 60 to 80.
Yeah, that's actually really good. Like that's ideal for pretty much everything, including fish. So
my GH though is untestable.
Oh, poor Kelly. She just has this sword that will not stop flowering, even though she keeps cutting off the bloom.
Poor thing.
How inconvenient.
But I will have to say,
terrible problem.
Since she had me add a second light to the 90, that front light comes on in the morning, so it's on during the show, and then it stays on whatever the setting was from Blue Ball. I let that one alone. I didn't mess with it. And the back one comes on like at 4 or 5 something. So they both cross over at a certain point, and then the front one dies down, and the back one is much brighter. So in this 90, I have light in it some way from 8 o'clock in the morning to like 12 or 1 or 2, before it finally closes out completely. Oh, yeah. And it has made a huge difference. I didn't realize that one light was not enough in that tank.
So Kelly made you get a second light. What a coincidence. She made me get a second light too.
You should get connections with the light company.
I run a lot of low light plants, a lot of rhizome plants. And so, I do run a little bit longer photo periods, 10, 11 hours. I don't mess with a whole lot of stems, so I'm trying to think. I think I've only got I've got one type of Rotala, I think one type of Ludwigia, and some Pogostem and Octopus. And the rest of mine is just Anubias, Java Fern, Bulbitis.
Oh, yeah.
Bucephalandra.
I want to try Bulbitis so bad. I want to try some mini Bulbitis. I love that it looks like a legit fern. And it's just
it feels really cool.
Yeah, I was going to say I could send you Bulbitis, but my Bulbitis is like 2 feet tall. So
mine
you would want that.
Kelly sent me some. It's not doing as well in this tank as the rest of the plants, though.
Mine's just starting, and it's taken about a year for it to get comfortable. I got it last year at Aquashella, and It has none of it's died, but it's just now starting, I think, to get comfortable. It's really bushy, but it's just starting to get some height on it.
That's good.
Nice.
So before we go into the mid-morning break, another thing I wanted to share is just how awesome Bacopa is and how underrated it is, because it's a super easy plant. Does not require CO2, does not require highlight, and you don't have to do anything special to get it to grow immersed, because the stems are so thick, they hold a lot of moisture. They will go straight up out of the water. And
Yes, they will.
And so I'm sharing a picture now showing a nice like purple flower that sprouted from a stem that grew just a couple inches above the water and was sitting under the light. This is in my Fluval Spec 5.
That's cool.
It was a nice surprise.
Bacopa is really cool plant. I love that stuff.
Beautiful.
Now,
Yeah,
is what I'm
super easy
showing
plant.
you, is that Bacopa, that little plant right there in the center?
Hold on, let me make you big. So which one are you?
This one right here.
Is that it might be Monnieri. Back up in Monnieri. Where'd you get it from?
Well, probably out of some of the stuff somebody sent me. But I've got one in the back and it's way taller. I clipped this one off and planted some more because it was bent over from the plant wave maker thingy. That would be cool if I did have some of that. But
yeah.
I know I have seen. I think I've actually bought some in one of those little cups before, but I don't know where or what happened to it. Can't say. But Greg brought up something, and that's something I wanted to ask you about, like the water parameters. KH, is that what buffers your water, and what happens if your KH is 0? I don't understand that.
If your KH is 0, that just means any addition of any like dissolved organics will have the potential to swing your pH a little easier.
Yep.
It's not like super horrible. Like you just, if you're doing water changes regularly, a KH of 0 is pretty dang good.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I was afraid. It's like, what would happen?
It's kind of like your pH backup. That's kind of the way I look at it.
Yep.
Oh, okay. It's you know me. That was my goal this year, is to learn water parameters.
Your KH can tell you, like, if anything in your water is, like Steven said, if something's going wrong and your KH is dropping fast, something could be decaying in the water, or your plants are starving and they're just eating up everything faster than you can regenerate it for them.
Okay.
You can tell a lot by, the swings of your mineral contents.
So, mid-morning break, Dee Dee, what did you have a song in mind, or are we just going to play the members?
No, we're going to have a word from our sponsor, which is Joe's Shrimp Shack.
All righty.
Thank you, Joe Shrimp Shack, where there is a 10% discount for up to 4 hours after the Aquatic morning show. So go in and use your code.
Awesome. Alrighty. Is that the mid-morning break now, or is there a song? Well, I always forget what the format is now.
Well, we change it around as we want to. What would you like to hear today?
I don't know. Actually, I know what I want to hear. If it's allowed, because I know there's like copyrights and stuff, but I want to hear Foxy's snail song.
Oh, we were thinking alike. I was going to look for it.
Yeah. It's been a little while.
Yeah. Speaking of Foxy's Fishes, I'm going to be on there Thursday night.
Yeah, you're the new regular co-host with
Yeah, the new third wheel.
The new hot theme.
That's gonna be awesome though. Like that team, that's gonna be like the stream to not miss on Thursdays for sure. I mean, Thursdays are already a pretty good streaming day, but
Yeah.
I enjoy Thursdays and Mondays the best for streams. Like,
Yep.
Monday you learn everything. Thursday it's just nonstop awesome.
Yeah. And it can go on till 2 o'clock in the morning on Thursday sometimes.
And it's great. Speaking of, good morning, Miss Roxanne and Peplin and the Aquarium guy and Miss Holly.
Good morning.
Jen.
Now, imagine when Ed comes back, then Thursdays are just going to be above and beyond the best.
Yes. Yes, they will be.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, Ed is definitely a presence that you feel his absence.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and Rico too, because we're used to Rico all the
For
time,
sure.
and you miss him when he takes a week off.
Yes.
It's like, oh my gosh, maybe he'll be back today. Maybe he'll be back today. Maybe he'll be back today.
I sit here and refresh a lot of times if I don't know if he's going for sure, and it's always just like my day is not normal unless Rico does an afternoon delayed, and it just feels completely off. And if he's off for a week, for understandable reasons, completely, but still, I'm always just like, it just doesn't feel normal. I don't like it.
Yeah. Now he's been nursing a head cold for the past few days, so I don't know if he's going today, but
I hope so.
Otherwise, he's all right.
Doesn't he have Alexander Engelhart?
Yes, he does.
He sure does. Yeah, that's right.
And let's see, what else? Awesome.
The mysterious Alexander.
And then a second mystery, less of a mystery now, but still a little bit of a mystery of Mr. Myrtle on Hey Fish Tube this evening.
Tonight, 10 p.m. Central, right after the void that used to be Ladies' Night.
Yep. And Myrtle dishes us out information a little bit at a time.
Yes.
He feeds it to us as he wants us to have it.
So he did a focus on with Rico, and so we got to learn more about the man behind the music. And now tonight we're gonna focus a little more on the fish keeper and the plant keeper behind the music. Now he only has a couple of tanks because of space, but the tanks he does have, just like how Kelly puts all of her energy into just 2 or 3 tanks, he puts all his energy into this like amazing planted guppy colony he's got going.
Yep. That's going to be awesome.
Yep. Can't wait. It's going to be super fun.
Well, maybe we'll have an impromptu ladies chatters or something some night.
Yeah.
We get it together. We won't be ladies of the night, just
ladies of the night
time or something. Did you ever find that, Steve?
Oh wait, did you want me to find it? I thought you were looking.
I thought you were.
I can totally find it.
That's why I backed out, because I thought you were already looking for it.
Oh no, but I absolutely will. right now.
No, we actually did look at Myrtle.
Yep. It was awesome to
We
find.
got to see his face. Yep.
Yep.
Although that was hilarious that he started out with the piece of cardboard in front of his face with the
Oh
question
yeah.
mark. That
I
was
forgot about that.
then he just drops it. That was great.
Well, his first ever one, wasn't it just voice? And
So on Thanksgiving he did a stream, and like his internet was bad, and I was at my parents' house where their internet is really bad, so I missed pretty much all of it. But from what I could tell, he was off camera and off mic for most of it.
Yeah, he was. I bopped in there for a little bit.
later, Wayne.
All right, got it.
Excuse me.
Snails time.
Time for the snails.
Yay.
I was talking about this song the other day, actually.
This is my daughter's favorite one. Even she likes it even more than mine, and that's fine. That's okay.
I don't have a problem or anything.
You might not have a problem. I don't know. Does she?
I don't know, but if she does, that's a great problem to have.
Yep, it's a good problem.
Mm-hmm. Snails.
Stephen, have you tried feeding your babies by the tweezers yet?
Not yet. Well, I mean, yesterday was just a kind of a lost day because I was like so tired, sleep deprived. I don't remember a whole lot, and I also could not figure out a lot. Like I needed help posting to Instagram yesterday. That's how that's how messed up my head was, and I still did it wrong. Because they were telling me to share my video, and I was like, I don't know how.
I had to get an Instagram thing for Dee Dee's vid did yesterday so I could see Matt's picture.
That was funny.
That was the only way to see it. You had to go on Instagram. So it's like, okay, so now I have an Instagram.
Oh, I need to be a follower.
I already am.
Well, I don't have anything on it.
Well, you
I
will.
had an Instagram started myself.
But I guess it is an easy way just to take a picture. without having to do a video.
Yeah,
Right.
the people that helped me with my videos just started me in Instagram.
It's one of the few social media programs that I actually like because it is just, posting those really great pictures that you get or short little video clips. And it gives me the ability to let people know on another platform that, hey, I've got a new video out or I have a video coming out. And now that they have the highlights, because I use post and stories to get people to realize I have new content out, I get quite a few clicks on those highlighted story reels.
Yes, I need to let Matt know I set one up too.
Yeah, I just posted your link in chat too, and I posted Brandon's Instagram link in chat.
Yeah,
so people can go check those out. Yeah, Bex and Annette are teaching me how to social media and and self promote, I guess, because I'm not a self promoter.
Yeah, I'm terrible at it myself. I've never even had like Facebook or Twitter or any of that stuff.
I have a Twitter account, but I don't use it. I think I made it to enter a contest or something like that, where it's like, you have to tweet this. And so sure, I'll start an account and tweet it to 0 people.
Right.
Well, hey, Kenny.
Morning,
so maybe he'll have some news on his shoulder this week for us. I think he went to the doctor.
Oh, yeah.
You see, is his members only today? Tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's when you get the scoop from Kenny. But would y'all like to hear some fishery?
Sure.
Do it.
Alex?
Always.
The secret history living in your aquarium.
No, I can't pull that up for you, Dee.
I got it.
I don't have it. Okay.
I'm ready.
It's Alex Williamson here with Fishery, the awesome show that's short episodes about anything new in the academic world related to fish, freshwater or salt, in the hobby or not, and any cool things in the hobby, any new species, new discoveries, research, or current events. So today what I want to talk to you guys about is more evidence that fish are not as dumb as we once thought. So for a long time, it was thought that fish just aren't that smart. One, because they don't talk, they don't do things in a place where we can easily observe them usually, until the last really 150 years. But throughout human history, they're in a different realm. They're underwater, and we couldn't really observe their behavior that well, especially any social behavior or using tools, picking up stones and decorating their nests and things like that we know they do now. But we wanted to find out more recently whether they could do mathematics. And so they've been coming up with experiments to figure out if they can do mathematics. And guess what? It turns out they can. And the really crazy part about that is another bias we had for a long time is they have no cerebral cortex biologically. And for us, the cerebral cortex is where we do all of our thinking and processing of logical thoughts and tasks and things that are in any way abstract and not just reflexes or motor skills or, life-sustaining reptilian brain systems, basically, that happen in humans in the brainstem. So basically, fish, we thought, were just these things that react only with a brainstem, essentially. But it turns out that apparently their brains have evolved differently in the 350 to 450 million years that we branched off from them and scampered up onto the land and became little mammal, marsupial, rodent type things, and then into primates and so on and so forth. And here we are. So what they did for this study, it was at the Zoological University in Bonn, Germany. And they took groups of fish, including they tried it out on stingrays, convict cichlids, and then Pseudotropheus, I believe, and maybe a zebra acara. I think that was the other fish. They wanted to see if they could figure out simple math. And so what they did is they took a picture and they would show them for several days before the test a square on a just a piece of paper outside their tank, and they put it up, and it would be 1 square, 2 squares, 3 squares, 4 squares, 5 squares, and they were always the color red, the squares that were to be counted. So then they added other shapes like a yellow triangle and a blue circle, and there'd still be 3 or 4 squares. So then after they fed them treats, basically, for interacting with it and paying attention to the paper, I guess, eventually what they did was they would reward them when they selected the right problem. They started very simple. So it was like 1 red square, and then they'd take away that picture, and the next picture would be 2 red squares, and then the other picture next to it would be like 1 red square and a circle or something like that that was blue. And if they selected the one that was 2 red squares, then they would get a treat. And they did this so on and so forth, so that every time they added a shape that was the same color, same shape to the photo in the next sequence, they would get a treat. So basically they taught them through Pavlovian, with the dog where you ring the bell, that old deal. They taught them how to count, how to do math. And then they did it where they subtracted numbers, and when they would subtract a number, it would be, instead of the square being red, they would take, for instance, a green circle. And so there'd be 2 green circles, and then the next image they would need to subtract. So like the red was addition, the green was subtraction, for instance. And they would have to know if there's 3 red squares, then in a minute, when they get rid of that image after the fish has seen it, then they're going to put up 2 images, and one's going to have an extra red square and some other shapes. Sometimes they started pretty simple, I think, without other shapes. And then the other image could be maybe 3 red squares, and they had to pick the one that was just an extra square. And they got this down quickly. In a matter of a week, they were able to train all these fish. So it was pretty quick. But they just wanted to prove the basics of the fact that they could do this. Now, they were able to show this in every single fish that they tried to teach, and they were able to do addition and subtraction up to 10. So that may not sound that amazing, but it's better than a lot of very young humans are able to do until, kind of their toddler years. And that's a whole lot more than we maybe expected fish being able to do. So now we're seeing if they can do multiplication and addition. And a lot of people may critique this and say, well, it's not really doing math. They're just memorizing things. And that may be true, but they're then memorizing 10 different combinations and cues of what to do based on the color and the sequential order and the shapes and all that. So either way, it either shows they have a really good memory, and you can teach them just like you teach a dog to do tricks, or it shows that they could at least do calculations of 1 at a time. Now, I guess they did 2 at a time, and that also worked too, but they haven't published on the more complex stuff yet. They just mentioned that they were working on it. So in any case, next time you walk by your fish tank, see if you can get them to count. Maybe put on Sesame Street and get the a 1, a 2, a 3, the count, or whatever. So in any case, I hope you guys like that little story. Just reminds us that our fishy friends aren't just dumb little robots or automatons. They do have a little brain and thoughts, however simple they may be. We don't know. They may be very complex, but treat your fish right, or they, they're not going to be happy. They're counting on you. Right? All right, guys. Well, back to you, Jess, on the Aquatic Morning Show. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye. Hey, guys.
Oh, that was funny.
Yep.
The counting on you. That was good. Oh, Lord.
I agree with Kelly, though.
I have
As
smart
smart as fish
rainbows.
are. Like, fish might be smart, and then take rainbow fish and put them a couple of notches below any smart fish.
I have smart rainbow fish. They don't jump out.
I can train my rainbow
I
fish
think they
to run
move too
straight into a
fast.
wall. Yeah, rainbow fish are very reactive and not. They don't really plan their path. They just go.
No. Yeah. I think they move too fast for their brains.
I can't
Well,
wait to see that.
yesterday when we were going out with the ending part, Brennan, Misfit Reptiles and Aquatics, had put up a $5 super chat. I'm sorry that we weren't able to get to that.
Oh,
So,
yeah, I missed that too.
I like
Every
getting
time.
off guard with that.
Every
Every
time.
time.
Every time. I'm sure Dee Dee saw me go, whoa.
I do it without letting you know because I love watching the reaction.
It's just so sudden. There's no ramp up
Yes.
with that song.
Nope, it just comes at you just like it is.
Good morning. Wake up.
So yeah, Brandon, in case you weren't aware, that clip starts with Jess's butt just waggling. She's wearing blue pants.
Yeah, she was
I've
doing
been
water
hearing the
changes,
reactions.
and we were picking on her about all we're seeing is your butt. She was on someone else's stream, I think, and so she just got silly and did a little butt dance. And then she has little doggies jumping. I love the dog on the bed.
Mm-hmm.
He's my favorite dog out of that.
It needs kitty cats. It needs kitty cats doing the zoomies.
Ew.
Or just a clip of Kelly's fat kitty doing like nothing.
Yes, I love Fat Kitty. I love
The
Fat
only
Kitty.
the only thing Fat Killy does is spoon.
Yes. Yes. My Fat Kitty isn't as fat as Fat Kitty, but he is very similar to Fat Kitty in how he does nothing except for come for pets and want love. That's all that cat's good for.
I try to do the responsible thing and like play with my fat kitty with the little like feather on a stick just to get her moving, but she's just more like, I'll raise a paw if it comes near me.
That's Ren.
Yep. Can't make them do anything they don't want to do.
No.
Alex showed us some really pretty fish yesterday, this pencil fish.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went out and I found us some stuff too. Let me see if I can share this.
Yeah.
Cool.
And y'all may have seen it. I don't know. Old news is new to me. Did y'all see that?
Yes, we can, Dee. Oh, they're pretty.
They're pretty.
Ooh. Wow. It was like
What type of fish are they?
They're genetically engineered to glow blue, green, or red under black light.
So it's not glowfish, it's a different
right.
different thing.
Transgenic.
It's like the phosphorescence type.
Yeah.
Stuff.
So what are we looking at? Are they Danios or?
Well, they're part of the zebrafish, I guess, family. These particular fish here, from what I could find, and apparently I didn't hook my pages together correct. But the scientists have used zebrafish, I guess Danio Rerio, for developmental and genetic studies for decades. I guess that's Danio fish. And native to Southeast Asia, the match-size freshwater fish were engineered to glow for research purposes in the late 1990s by endowing them with the genes from fluorescent jellyfish for blue and green colors and coral for red. How about that?
Oh, so this is just like the origin of the glowfish
Probably.
they were intended for.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Interesting. Okay.
Butterfly class. Sorry, her teacher's calling her in. And then in the 2000s, companies saw the potential of the neon fish as pets. So yes, you're right. Trademarked as glowfish. And they were the first fish genetically engineered species to become commercially available. Now they are one of the first to escape and thrive in nature. So
Oh yeah.
early on, the environmentalists were worried about the possibility, and glowfish sales were banned in some U.S. states, and such as California and several countries, including Brazil. And then in 2014, a single glowfish was spotted in the canals near ornamental fish farms in the Tampa Bay region of Florida. But it had not multiplied, probably because native predators such as the eastern mosquito fish and the largemouth bass ate the interloper, they think, because they could spot them because of their bright color. Brazil is probably more hospitable, and they're finding them in slow-moving creeks. So, unlike Florida, Brazilian creeks don't have any local predators for zebrafish, and some believe that they're thriving. And during a study, they found 5 creeks in 3 municipalities, finding transgenic zebrafish in all of them. Every 2 months, over 1 year, they collected and measured the animals and their eggs and analyzed their stomach content to see what they're eating. They were all producing all year round, with a peaks during the rainy season, just as native zebrafish do in Asia. But the transgenic fish seem to achieve sexual maturity earlier than their forebears, which allows them to reproduce more and spread faster. And the invaders are also eating well, a diversified diet of native insects, algae, and zooplankton. So they're in the first stages of invasion with potential to keep going. And before long, the fish could become plentiful enough to directly affect local species by competing for food or preying on them.
Yep.
So,
it's interesting that that because of their color, they're not just like advertising themselves as food.
Yeah.
But I think there was this also the theory that because of their bright colors, maybe they're signaling that that they're toxic.
Right.
So,
and that could be too.
That's a good point.
But those are very pretty. I wouldn't mind having some of those in my tank.
that's a good picture. I'll give you that. That's not really representative of what you're going to see in your tank because of the whole like glowfish light. Like they did to take that photo. There was some I guess enhancements, just the right lighting. I don't know if they did anything in Photoshop, but when I see glowfish in person, I'm less impressed.
Well, yeah, because they look fake.
Yeah,
the color.
Right.
Yeah.
And these look kind of fake, but not as fake, just because of it's not like they're not glowing. They're just very bold, bright colors that they captured on there.
Mm-hmm. But it would be cool to find one in your backyard. Because I have a culvert that runs down it's under my ground, but it comes out on the backside of our property.
Mm-hmm.
There's a puddle down there where it's got a little runoff. And so it's about a foot to maybe 14, 15 inches deep in the very center. So there's always some sort of fish back there because it doesn't flow. It's kind of stagnant. And there's a huge turtle. That thing is that big. His head looks like that big. He goes back there, and I see these fish, which are like this, but they're all gray colored, of course. But where did they come from? They had to come out of the street water path somewhere along the way.
Yeah. So that happens, like there's a season where I'll have this kind of the same thing in the ditch in front of the house. There's like a puddle right where the culvert is, and there's turtles, occasionally a snake, and there's fish. And one day I just decided to net them out there to see what they are, and I'm just gambusia. But you might have something different in there. But they're live bears. They produce pretty reliably, and I think mosquito fish are basically everywhere that the temperature allows them to be at this point, like all over the world too, like even in Australia and stuff.
Well, I would assume it's going to be a mosquito fish in that one. I'm just guessing.
Yeah,
I sure hope they are, because I sure hope they would eat them. Because we have, well, you know how it is too, Skeeter City. Summertime.
Oh yeah.
I've already seen mosquitoes from that warm day that we had. A about 3 weeks ago, mosquitoes have already surfaced here.
Man.
I don't think they ever went away down here.
No, they don't. Florida's got to be super bad all the time. Louisiana, there's at least a period of no mosquitoes, but it's not long.
In Florida.
Yeah, I think once you hit like the central Florida area and below, you just get varying degrees of horrible with mosquitoes.
Oh yeah, so
then
true.
They start to get bigger the further south you
Yeah,
go.
definitely.
Bird. Like I swear to goodness, the state bird of Florida is the mosquito.
The mosquito hawk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, mosquito hawks over there, just like massive.
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
definitely.
They look like hummingbirds.
they do.
They're
They
huge.
sound like it.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
I don't miss it.
I don't have to feed my ponds outside. That's all I'm gonna say.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm thinking about just doing like a guppy tub outside just for the mosquitoes.
And they would the guppies I have in my tank inside came out of my pond from last year, and aside from the ones that I've got from Jess, and they're absolutely gorgeous. I might throw some rapashi in there every month or so, and other than that, they live on what's growing in the algae and the never-ending supply of mosquito larvae.
Kyle.
Kyle brings up an excellent point because that's what happens.
Get that one mosquito in your tent and you're not sleeping. Well, just get faster
God,
reflexes.
Well, it knows when you're going to pick up your hand to swipe towards your ear. It knows. And it gets out the way, and it's like, ha, 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 you can't get me, I'm coming back.
And then it'll hang out by your legs. If it
yeah.
thinks you're too fast, it'll just hang out by the legs.
Eat them up.
Yep.
Yeah,
I got to be careful
around here.
They love me, man. Like I can walk outside for 5 seconds when I go home and visit in North Carolina, or when I was in Florida, I could walk outside and within 5 minutes, I would come back in covered in just red from mosquitoes.
I've got that same kind of delicious blood as well. Like it just hang out with me and I'll keep the mosquitoes away from you. That's
usually I'm the last person to get attacked. So if somebody else is juicy, they go for them. So
I
have some mean blood.
I walk outside with
you. Down here, the mosquitoes are like secondary to the daggum little flies.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, Skipper.
Now, where I had my horse farm, the I don't know what they call them, the ones that bite, the green head flies.
Oh yeah,
not the horse flies, but they're small ones.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But they bite and they bite the stuffings out of you.
Is that the midge
you
fly?
Lay out in the yard or nothing. No, I can't remember what they call them now. But my brother lived up against the wood line. I lived up against the highway part, so I had breeze. Fine. You go down to his driveway, and when you turn, like to go to where it went straight, and then when you turned off to go to his house, it was like, this is the line. And you were doing this the whole time you were trying to stand there and talk to them. Because they would eat you up.
Yep.
Horse flies, man, they hurt.
They're mean.
Yeah.
They're mean.
I've got the no-see-ums.
Oh,
no-see-ums. That's definitely a Florida, Louisiana swamp thing for sure.
South Carolina too. South Carolina seems bad. Flying teeth.
Ugh.
Yes.
Now, the big old horse flies, the horses will twitch when one lands on them, a little spot, they'll twitch it. And you'll be like, hold still, hold still. And the horses are actually learning to hold still so you can hit that fly and not twitch. Because, they're always flapping their tails and whatnot, trying to keep them off of them. But yeah, you'll say, hold still, and they will.
Cool.
They're mean.
Oh, Paul Soteris said that birds are responsible for many fish species. That's true.
Yep. The eggs hitchhike. So for like the case of live bears, how do they get there? Because you don't really get to carry, like they don't carry the eggs. Maybe it's just a matter of like they scoop up a fry or something, or
or like maybe they, I don't know, maybe they'll scoop up a female and drop it. instead of getting
Right.
it down and they'll drop it over a body of water.
Oh, and aren't there some eggs that will just like survive digestion?
I was
Like,
getting ready to ask that.
Yeah, I think there are.
Maybe killifish eggs. They seem to be pretty hardy.
And Pulsatero is a good one for hitchhikers because he gave me some hitchhikers on my plants that he gave me.
Oh yeah, were they like cichlid fry or something?
They were the blue-eyed.
Oh, that's even more exciting. The pseudomagills.
Yeah, two
Yes.
of them. I had three.
wow.
One of them disappeared, but the two have been released into the 40-gallon with the tetras, and they seem fine. They're really growing fast now since they finally get to a certain
That's a cool
point.
surprise.
It was like, oh my gosh, what is this? Yay! I mean,
Yeah,
stuff
to
like that
me-
is just cool.
Cichlid fry would be a burden, but pseudomagill fry would be.
Yeah, that's a cool one. I've got Oranda goldfish in one of my ponds, and I've got a single platy swimming around in there, and I have no idea how it got there.
Well, I put these plants in a shrimp tank that had never had anything but some shrimp I bought. And then all of a sudden I see 3 little fishes swimming. And they were so tiny, I could, if they didn't move, I would not have seen them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, now I'm in there with a flashlight and I'm really looking, and their little eyes would reflect. So that's, yeah, they came in on some plants. They were not even submersed in water. He had wrapped the Java ferns in like Walmart bags, but they were still wetty, but not submerged. And I drove an hour from where he gave them to me at. He had drove to where he gave them to me at, and I brought them home. And I probably didn't rinse them off or anything. And I laid them out on my stove, and I filmed them and everything, and they laid up there like that. And then so they were out of the water for 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden, a week later, I have little babies.
As long as they stay, wet enough and warm enough,
keep them moist.
They did. So
that's cool.
Yeah, that was nice. I love that. And then I have 2 Coreys that I don't know where they came from. They're not like any of the rest of my Coreys.
Probably the same way.
Oh Lord, look at JoJo. He's going to do me dirty.
Maybe they'll come with cribs fry or adults. These dang prevents us adults hitchhiking.
I have 2 female cribs in with my snails, and I have the killer male crib. He lives with the rainbow fish, and I have managed to get rid of all the rest of them to the fish store. It's like, oh, got to keep them separated. Because if you just turn your back for just a quick second, they're in a cave somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So do we have
I had them in my pond last year. They were beautiful outside. That top fin, I put them outside, and they were beautiful outside.
Does JoJo owe you some plants, Dee Dee?
He was going to send me some plants at Christmas. So it's almost Christmas in July.
Nice. Do we have new coffee cup sponsors?
Well, Jess has not made any videos, so I don't know. But I do have our normal coffee cup sponsors. So everybody get ready to run to the potty.
All right. Time to go to the bathroom and then brush your teeth.
Yeah, and zip your pants up.
Yep.
That's right. You too can be a coffee cup sponsor.
The Aquatic
Isn't the
Morning Show at
sound of
Gmail.
coffee pouring in a mug like one of the greatest sounds?
Depends on the context. Depends on how full your bladder is, I guess.
That's true.
If I said, now I got to use the bathroom.
It's a bizarre mix of sounds. First, you got a dog barking.
It certainly is. It's a sensory overload when you can't see what's going on too. Like,
so, what does it sound like is happening to you?
It's just the first time I heard it, I was thrown so far out of bounds. Like I was like, is this okay to be on?
Yeah. I was really looking for a garbage truck sound. You know how they come up and pull up and make all this clangy noise at like 5:30 in the morning up in the trash cans.
Oh
I would
yeah.
have loved to have had one of those for that. But I didn't have one on my little program to use. Because that's usually when I first moved out here, they had like 5 or 6 different trash services. Everybody had their own. Every day, you had a trash truck coming at the wee hours of the morning. Ours was the only one that picked up in the afternoon. Everybody else woke you up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
3:30 in the morning. It's like, this should be against the law. It's like, it wasn't like one day a week, you're going to get woke up. It was every morning.
It's so loud. The sound of the cans smacking the back of the truck, and then they like compact the trash.
And then if it's like my house, you got the dogs that are trying to kill anybody that's in front of the house.
Yeah.
Yep.
Through the door.
So Brooklyn said her street is flooded in because the weather is getting bad. It is dark outside, like very dark.
She said it was really dark, so
her street lights came on. Ours are still off.
Well, because CB, it's because we're pouring. Everybody that sits around the coffee table gets a fresh cup of coffee, so we pour you a cup.
Oh yeah, of course. And there's multiple coffee cup sponsors, and who can get by with 1 cup of coffee?
Not me.
Oh Lord, don't make me do 2 for everybody. Oh, that'd be funny. But I do know that I'm going to be a coffee cup sponsor on the next time whenever ours runs out, and Miss Lori's going to be one. That's the only 2 that I'm aware of.
Cool.
That's one of my goals. As soon as I get a logo design, is to get a coffee mug made.
Oh, cool. Well, we have if you're a coffee cup sponsor, Annette, Mystery Snow Guardians, takes your logo and puts it on a coffee cup and makes a little video.
Oh, that's
and what
cool.
I do, I just add all the individual videos together and put your channel name out there too, so they can see your little logo picture, and they can also read it a little larger on the other side of the screen. So you get a little bit of advertisement. And I have to say, since I started advertising with Jess, I probably went up 100 subscribers.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It did help, and I enjoy doing it.
Yep,
I just got to get a logo designed. I haven't even gone that far yet.
Oh yeah, you have to find a logo person. Fortunately for me, Shanna took care of that for me.
Find a logo person you trust. I did a great job on this.
Exactly.
It looks great.
Yeah, let Zachary fix him the logo. And it's like, not that it wouldn't be good, but it might not be what he would want. But how are they doing with the new art?
I get asked that a lot when I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to get tattooed today. And they're like, you still get tattooed? Yeah. And how do you know what he's tattooing? Because I trust him with my life.
Yeah. Plus, you have other people around you that you trust that be like,
Sometimes,
hey.
sometimes I just go.
Now,
Nice.
I've only had one tattoo done, and you would think that because you know what it's supposed to look like, that you would be able to feel, oh, they're going to do the flower petal now. Oh, they must be doing the leaves, or couldn't tell one thing apart from the other.
Mm-mm. All I ever can tell is that it hurts.
And when I thought, oh my God, they've got to be done, I said, how much longer are you going to go? You know, it's like, because it didn't feel like you'd only done like maybe part of it. He said, well, in about 2 minutes, I'll be finished. It's like, oh, it just hurts so bad. You know, I just didn't realize the whole thing was almost done.
Yeah, it's like a continuous, never-ending
Yeah.
burn and electrocution at the same time.
Yeah. You don't feel it. You feel some change, but you can't really tell. Now, I also had eyeliner tattooed on my eyelids a long time ago. That hurts.
Oh,
That
I
hurts.
can't imagine that.
My mom
no.
had that done, and then I found out like it doesn't last forever.
No, it doesn't.
Mm-mm.
Well,
I
what's
still
the
have
point?
some from got this done like in 2008. So it's still there. It's just not as much there, but there's a little bit left. But you should get it redone every 7, 8 years, probably.
Well, the skin's so thin, they just can't put that much ink into it. And,
Yeah, I guess so.
as your skin.
And you can't use but so much for numbing because it's right there at your eyes. I mean, they do wipe something on it, but it's not enough. It's just not enough. They need to work with the dentist and let them gas you up first.
Yeah.
That would be better.
My shoulder
Oh, I
didn't
need.
hurt too when I got mine done. I have a big one on my shoulder on near the blade. The only part of that really hurt was when they got near that bone. Once they got near the bone, that's when it started to hurt.
That's where I had
Yeah.
mine done too.
So I was told that the wrist would actually hurt a lot just because it's thin skin.
Yeah.
The only bad part was just when they did the shading and they would go over it multiple times. It's just a little irritating, but I never
Oh,
felt
yeah.
like I needed to tap out or anything.
No.
Oh, see, that would be hurtful to me. I would be afraid they'd punch too hard.
Well, I did have, I don't know if it was because of the artist or because of my skin or maybe a mixture of both, but like there are parts on my tattoo where it's like permanently raised. I guess it's scarring or something. Like
Oh yeah.
the lines are raised.
Mhm.
Yeah, you got to be careful when you're tattooing that thin skin because if
Mhm.
they do push too hard, that's what happened with mine. It was my first tattoo ever, and I didn't, I went to like Atomic Tattoo down in Tampa, and the guy who did it pushed too hard, and so everything's bled, so it's not crisp. So you have to be really careful. I'm actually thinking about having it removed, honestly, because he messed it up so bad.
Yeah, it sucks when you go in and
Yeah.
you don't get an artist that's very, I don't know, experienced or whatever, and they blow it out real bad.
And you do have to be careful too, because you might get a little single flower, and then if you gain weight or something, all of a sudden you have a bouquet. And then you get old, and then you lose weight, and then you have a saggy, droopy bunch of flowers.
Right.
So you have to be careful where you put stuff.
That's just the life cycle of a flower. They grow and then they die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They grow with you.
But then you can't throw these out. They're on there forever.
So,
Out of all
Bex,
of mine,
did you
it's
get a
been my
cover up
neck.
done on yours, or is it like?
It's something that I don't think I could cover up unless I did like something massively huge. So I think my best bet is just to have it removed. I mean, it's just plain black.
You can
So
get it. You could get it lightened. You maybe wouldn't have to have it all the way removed, but you get it lightened, and then an artist could work over it.
that might be that's an idea.
Like a Route of Mystery Snails tattoo.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've contemplated a half sleeve. I've kind of want a half sleeve. I want a
I said that once upon a time.
yeah,
That'd be
like
pretty badass.
a Japanese style dragon with cherry blossoms.
Cool.
I said that once upon
Black
a
and
time,
white.
and it's much more than that now.
It gets addicting, huh?
Yeah, kind of does.
But you know
Yeah.
what was real cool at one time? You know, the thing across the hip area, then it became known as a tramp stamp. So
The
then
lower
it was a
back.
bad thing, but now you're stuck with it. So it's like, okay.
It's cool. Like you can look at people with their particular tattoos and be like, "Yeah, I know what year era
Yeah.
that came from."
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
easily.
My niece has I guess it's a full sleeve now. And it's like, okay, it's cute now because you're young. We'll see. I probably won't live to see it, but I hope it works out okay for her because you can't hide a whole sleeve.
Mm-mm.
I just had some of mine touched up recently that were going on 20 years old, and they were still. I mean, they were a little bit puffy looking, but they were still pretty good.
Well, now, couldn't they take a nude color ink and just go over your whole design and now you got a nude splotch in the shape?
Not really. Sometimes, like the darker pigments, they'll bleed through. You can't really cover them up. I guess if you just went over it and over and over and over it, but you have to do
They didn't
that
see
in many sessions, and you still might have bleed through of the darker pigments.
Now, I knew somebody that she insisted her husband remove. He was a Marine, so he had the bulldog on
Oh
his
yeah.
arm, and it literally was like a chunk like that much. Like they scraped layers and layers and layers and layers, and I don't think it was ever going to grow back in. It might have. I don't know. I think they should have just left it. You know,
Yeah.
he had it when she met him. It wasn't offensive. It was just a bulldog.
Yeah, I mean, and I've studied Japanese culture for years, like in-depth studied Japanese culture for years, and my mom lived in Japan for 4 years. My grandfather was stationed over there in Misawa, and that's what really got me started on Japanese culture, which is exactly why I decided if I were to do anything large, it would be something like a Japanese dragon with those cherry blossoms because of what they represent.
Yeah. I mean, if it means something to you, that's the only thing that matters is
And
what
that
it means
was,
to you.
yeah, and that was something that because my grandmother loved it when they lived over in Japan, and that was something she and I really shared. We would talk about her experiences over there all the time. And since I've lost her, that is another reason why I wanted that, because then it's just a permanent reminder of something that I shared with her that was so special.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Kip, go ahead.
My left arm sleeve is all Japanese, and all of the imagery is representative of something, but then they also all represent a particular element. Like there's a there's a lot that goes into like an accurate Japanese sleeve. The guy that did mine, he apprenticed for a few years. I think a few. I think he apprenticed for like 10 years over in Japan, and his his mentor still tells him he's crap.
Well, I subscribed to Kimberly from Killer Arts after she was on the show, and she did a video, a YouTube video of it when she was doing a Japanese design, and she was telling kind of like the story of these birds that are over there and what it represents and all that as she's painting this thing, and it was kind of cool because I would have never known,
Yeah, it was crazy. Like when I
culture.
started mine, it was just, hey, I like this and I like this and I like this, and my guy was like, well, let's do it this way, and then you'll be accurate. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize there was exactly that much that went into it.
Mm-hmm.
It covers the elements. It covers the elements. It covers parts of my past and my beliefs, and it's a pretty in depth. process.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, we had an inmate that had we had to go in and record all of their tattoos to get it put into the system. And
Right.
I got assigned him. And now if they were on parts that
Oh
I'm
no.
not supposed to see, that's the only ones I couldn't, but anywhere else, I could do. Well, this man had a story on his torso. And it was small, like cursive letters. And he said, you're going to need about 2 days to write all this down.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was a story about his life in New York City. And
Oh wow.
I mean, it was very well done. And Lord knows he had kept himself up in shape to make the tattoo look good, And but it was kind of embarrassing because you got to get close enough so you can actually read cursive writing on somebody. But it was interesting. It did take a while. Man.
So instead of describing the tattoo, you have to actually write the whole freaking thing down.
If there's words and
Wow.
you don't have to write it word for word, but you got to get the kind of general gist of what's that way. If it gets added to while he's in prison, because they're not allowed to do that, but that way we get a database of where they are right now, and then if there's a new one that has popped up, it wasn't there before, so now he's disciplinary because I've seen some of the prettiest tattoos I've ever seen happen right in the prison.
Wow.
With a motor from something and a stick that their needle thing that they made on the end of it, like some sort of radio motor or something. Oh yeah, it was beautiful. And I said, good gosh, I'm sure he's an awesome artist out in the street when you have actual tools. Yep, it's just the way it is. Talent is everywhere. But y'all, we're past the 2-hour mark.
Yeah,
We sure are. So we're gonna go out with the stream schedule.
Yes, we can do that. And thank you everybody for coming in and the super sticker that we got today and the one from yesterday. So Brennan, I don't know if you saw that, but sorry I missed it. I wasn't able to catch it in time. And thank you everybody for coming in and the replay crew, the mods, my guests. Brandon, thanks for coming and joining us. Stephen and Bex, of course, I could not do it without you. I just could not.
Yeah. Great panel. Great having you up here, Brandon.
Thank you.
Yeah, anytime. Anytime, I had blessed.
All right. And here you go. And everybody have a great day.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
And for our Tuesday live streams in Eastern Standard Time, we start off the morning with the Aquatic Morning Show. The main scales first is at 10. And next up is Afternoon Chat Delight with Rico Stand at 12:15. And that is Danica Aquatic's members only stream at 4. Make a Sister Rena at 5 p.m. PM is also Fishy Talk with Lefty 32138. 6:30 is the Focus On interview with Rico Stand. Also at 7 is System of SLC Aquatics. At 7:30, Alex with the Secret Mystery Living in Your Aquarium. Next up is Whistle with Dippy John the Fisherman, 7:30 p.m. The Whistle Channel. Ed Cook, Kwere Co-op, Kwere. At 9 p.m. is Billy Pasco. And at 9, there's Catfish Terry. At 10 p.m. is Have a Beverage with Dr. Black and Dr. Black 66. At 11 is Hey Fish Tube with Jenna P. and Stephen P. 11:30 is Brenda with Misfit Reptiles and Aquatics. And for your Wednesday live streams at Eastern Standard Time, start off with Follow the Fish at 9 a.m. Followed and Split Aquatics at 10. At 11, Joe's Shrimp Shack. At 11, it's Katie Tropical, members only stream. 12:05, it's the members only. Main tails, fur, and fins. At 1, it's Bird Garden with Crack. At 2, Wednesday Weekly with Jimmy P's Aquariums. At 3, it's Wednesday Hangout with Brienne's Fish Fam. Wednesday at 6, it's Wednesday with Bob and Pam, Keller's Aquatics. At 7, it's Rob 93 in the hot seat. 8 o'clock, it's Keeping It Simple with Papa Shrimp. I love shrimp. Next up is Dan's Fish at 9 p.m. And also at 9 p.m. is Primetime Aquatics with Jason and Joanna. Concluding Wednesday night streams with Punchy Paints, Pam and Bob at 11 p.m. And as always, Liquid Zoo. Thanks for making this information easy to find at fishfam.link.